Oh, my sisters and brothers in Christ, we come back once again, back to the basics. And what we've realized is that some people have had some interesting questions, specifically about for Deacon Stephen and his journey into the seminary as a deacon and future Father Stephen to be a priest for pretty soon. And so I guess maybe just a couple of questions. Like, when did maybe like that seed of thought about becoming a priest, when did that happen for you?
That was in my junior year of high school, so 2008.
Okay.
Just kind of like when you start thinking about what do you want to do when you grow up, that's when it first came to me.
And so it was kind of sitting there, but then we know that you went to college,
right,
and you studied to be a teacher. Like,
yes.
So what did that look like?
So I thought about it at that moment, kind of put it off to the side, and then I went through my 4 years of college, taught, but throughout all that time, the thought of still being a priest was always there.
Did you go to church? Were you part of like a youth group or college campus ministry, anything like that?
Yep, I was involved with the Newman Club at St. Joe's for a few years. When I was in college, I taught religious ed in my home parish. Started to go to adoration more frequently. Tried to get to daily mass as much as I could.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then something clicked. And how do you get into like the seminary? Like, how does that happen?
So I talked with my home pastor, who kind of recommended me to apply, and then we had to talk to this vocation director, who was Father Joe at the time, my vocation director. And then from there on, there was a series of interviews with you. We talked at length about applying. Then they give you the actual application. There's a couple of questions they ask you, and you kind of have to write your vocation story. That's one of the things. And then going forward, so you apply, and then if you get accepted by the bishop, then you have to go to your studies.
Okay. And so it's not automatic.
It's not. There's a lot of discernment, a lot of prayer behind it between myself, vocations team, the bishop, and just make sure we're all listening to the Holy Spirit.
So there's two sides. There's a discernment on the side of the possible future priest,
yes,
but also on the church's side as well.
Of course. Yeah.
Now, so if you had your degree, did you have to do anything else? Like,
I did. So since my degree was in teaching, to get into the major seminary, so but Dunwoody, you have to have philosophy background. So I had to do 2 years of philosophy at the minor seminary in Douglaston, Queens.
Okay.
And then so I did my prereqs there, got a degree. Then I started my theology degree, which is all about like Bible, sacraments. That's all at Dunwoody.
And then just before the philosophy, was there a special degree with that, if I remember correctly, for you?
Yes, there was. It was a Master's of Arts in Catholic Philosophical Studies, MACPS.
You're a smart guy right here, right?
Yes.
So then you leave philosophy, you go into theology.
Theology.
And then is it the same thing, degrees there, degree or degrees?
There's 3 degrees. So in May, I'll have 3 degrees. First is a bachelor's in theology, sacred theology. Then there's a master's in theology, and then there's a master's in divinity. And to get all that, there's 4 years of schoolwork, so it's like college, 4 years of scripture, sacraments, saints. We have to do in our junior year, we do a thing called the comprehensive exam, which is an oral exam and a written exam about everything you learned for the past 3 years up until that point. And then for the master's in theology, you have to write a little paper called a thesis.
We just thought that you had to pray the rosary a couple of times. That's how it works. So
I wish.
So there is a lot of education to that, and then
yes,
to your point, to like the masters eventually for theology, you had to write this thesis, and so all the other classes you've taken, you're plus writing on top of that.
Yeah. And
correct me if I'm wrong. Is it kind of like writing chapters of a book?
You're writing 3 chapters. And so the whole thesis has to be 50 pages on any topic that you want. So it could be sacraments, history, church stuff, whatever it is. But it has to be 50 pages, 3 chapters.
And so there's the balance, right, of like just humanity, growing in your prayer, which is so essential, and then this really strong academic aspect to it as well.
Right.
And then, Stephen, you have such a great gift pastorally. Like we've listened to you preach. We've listened to how you've attended to families who've come for baptisms and just in the office. And so it's really the culmination of the whole person. And we were so blessed to see that come together. I think maybe for some of us who might be writing, maybe we're a little bit unsure that there was, so you had 4 years of college.
4 years of college.
You had 2 years of the master's work for philosophy.
Right.
And then 4 more years.
Yeah.
Wow. And so what an incredible dedication. And we're so blessed that you came here for us here at St. William the Abbot. and for the church. Like the hard work and example that you've been. Any words of advice, anybody out there who might be thinking about it?
So if you are thinking about the priesthood, I highly encourage it. I guess the best thing to do would be if you could find time for adoration. I know we offer it here at St. William's, which is great. Just talking with Jesus right in the church, telling him everything that's on your heart. I think that's probably the best step that you could do spiritually. Practically speaking would be to find a priest role model who you like and maybe start talking with them about like what was it like for them. I think those are probably practical, spiritual, always kind of we want to go together. So those are the two things I would recommend to any young man discerning priesthood.
And so there's back to the basics and that process, that walk in that journey to the priesthood. God bless you.